Hi traders, this is Chris from Elite Currency with a video on Bitcoin. Bitcoin is moving up majorly quickly now at the moment, but is it a fake out or a true breakout? Let's take a look at the charts right now. Alright, this is Bitcoin and it was rising quickly over the last couple of hours here, going from 6,100 to 6,700, and is that a true breakout? I think the most important thing to keep an eye on is 4-hour chart and daily chart. Keep an eye on those candlesticks and whether there's a big wick or not. And on the 4-hour chart, it is not looking that great. There is a pretty strong big wick. If you look at the total candle, it is a pretty big candle, obviously, looking at about $600. But of that $600, you're looking at about $400 worth of wick and $200 worth of body. That is looking like, there's at least a lot of volatility at the very minimum, but that does not look like a sustainable breakout as yet. But I don't want to say that the breakout is necessarily doomed, because I do think it depends on the daily chart. If the daily candle closed near the high, anywhere within 20%, I would say, all right, so that means that if this candle closes anywhere around $600, 20% means that it shouldn't close further than $120 off of the high. So if the high is 67.70, then the close should be at 66.50 or higher, and then we know that there's a good breakout. All right, 66.50 is kind of the magical level right there. Let me check if that's 66. Yeah, that's about it. Now, if it's lower, right, anywhere between 66.50 and about halfway that candle is a gray zone, and anything less, so halfway would be about 64.70. Yeah, just a tad lower like this. Anything less is looking like a fake out and is looking like a fake breakout, basically. All right, and there could be just a spike up, and that's just part of the retracement for perhaps more downside. Because ultimately, if you look at the pattern on this daily chart and you see the lower highs, and the flat bottom, the pattern typically breaks to the downside, but not always, right? There are always a few exceptions, and in this case, you never know. It's such a huge pattern. If it does break to the upside, then that could start an uptrend. If it does break to the downside, watch out, pay attention to 5K, 5,000 could be the next bouncing spot for Bitcoin. So ultimately, keeping an eye on this trend line, because if it breaks that trend line, and if it breaks above this resistance zone at 7,000 here like this, and the long-term moving average, then yes, there could be a bullish breakout, wait for a flag and continuation. And finally, Bitcoin might be starting its uptrend again, like we saw in 2017. This year, nothing of an uptrend as yet. If today's daily candle, however, closes anything like now, then that would not be looking too good, and there could be just a continuation lower. I still suspect one more lower low is possible on Bitcoin, considering this pattern and price action, and that might then indeed take place soon if we get a wick like that, I would say. All right, that it does indicate that volatility is back. Volatility was kind of gone, in the last couple of weeks. Really slow price action here, and just very slow ranges, small, tight ranges. You can see here that slow price action was already since, for two months at the very minimum. And if you look at the daily chart, then perhaps even longer, right? If you consider this all pretty choppy price action. So let's take a look back to that hourly chart. Sorry for all this back and forth. But yeah, that's the main thing. This hourly spike up, really, we don't know what it means. It all depends on how it closes. It could be a breakout. It could be a false breakout too. I would say let's take a look at the daily chart and then we'll know more. If it does close anywhere here, right, then yes, there could be that push up tomorrow and a continuation flag and then a follow through. All of the altcoins, at least the ones that I'm paying attention to, seem to be moving along with Bitcoin, but maybe not as quickly as Bitcoin has over the past hour. Let's see, that's about 10%, I believe, that Bitcoin has moved up. And if we look at, for instance, Ripple, that has been in the news a lot the last few weeks, you can see that it has moved up about 10% too. So maybe even a bit more. So relatively speaking, about the same move. Of course, Bitcoin seems to have made a bigger move up, I think, relatively, on the chart at least, because if you look at the daily chart, this choppiness is basically gone sideways so much that this push up engulfs all of that choppiness. With Ripple, that's not the case because it moved up a lot more. So that, because of the volatility in the past, this move seems smaller because of that. But anyhow, seems to be making or finishing a correction here, I would say. And if it does break above the 21 EMA, what it is looking like it's doing now, if it breaks above the long-term moving average, yes, I think that Ripple 2 could be ready for an upside, maybe even more so than Bitcoin. But it does depend on this daily candle, and the daily candle close above 0.48, let's say 0.50 would be good for that breakout continuation. So same with Bitcoin, we don't know how, whether the close is going to be strong or not, or it's going to be weak. That's the same for Ripple as it is for Bitcoin, and that does depend on today, tomorrow, I would say, specifically maybe today, most importantly. So if we get a good candle close near the high, even if it doesn't break above this, that's already a good sign. But if it breaks above this level, then I think it's a good sign that there is a breakout on Ripple to the upside. And I would suspect that both Ripple and Bitcoin will follow each other this time, but you never know. Even though Bitcoin might fail, Ripple might succeed in that breakout to the upside. So that's something we have to keep an eye on. For Bitcoin, the key level, I would say, is about 7,000 up to about 70. What is this? 73.53. All right. So that, if we get a good break through that zone, or if we get a good break, flag, and continuation, all of that would lead to a breakout potential. But whether we get that, of course, remains to be seen. Let's see how today's candles end up. Last but not least, as ECS, Elite Currency, is having a special offer here with XM. If you join XM through Elite Currency, through us, there's a special deal where you get a free ChemACD module and also 3 months of a live that also has the SWOT course and also the SWOT indicators for 3 months included. So that's a great deal. It's a win-win for all of us involved. I myself started an account with XM as well, trading Ultra System, which are also setups we send through ECS Live as we trade them ourselves. So it might be interesting for you. Just wanted to give you a heads up that this is a special offer here with pretty easy conditions. Take a look at the link I have below to find out all the details, how to benefit from this special offer. All right. Wish you, in any case, good trading. Cheers.